You may be familiar with the idea of Mother Earth, that our home planet provides us with a uniquely kind and bountiful environment. This is wrong. The Earth, if it had a character, would be a total bastard. An utterly incompetent, cruel bastard of epic proportions. The modus operandi of this bastard has been to kill everything, to condemn not only individual plants and animals to death, but do away with whole species, classes and phyla. The operational principle is laissez-faire. The bastard does not care. The history of the world on geographical timescales is built upon the bodies of the dead, literally. See this? It's oil, the liquefied corpses of plants and animals in uncounted trillions. Limestone, dead sea creatures so numerous, their dried and compacted bodies are made into buildings. So, this is our home, and its history is violent. Wild temperature swings, the build-up of poisonous gases, sudden cataclysms that first burn and then freeze the planet, killing the majority of everything. And slowly, life develops and complexifies against the odds. It's blocked and mutilated at every turn. Lust and death are the educational tools of choice. And anything left standing is the random survivor of a colossal death camp. It's too old to be called ancient. It's too cruel to be judged by human standards. But we do judge it. And we find it to be, what? Kind and loving? Mother Earth? There is no greater case of Stockholm Syndrome than the idea of Mother Earth. We have been held captives too long. The philosopher David Deutsch rips apart the myth of a kindly biosphere in his excellent book called The Beginning of Infinity. He uses the phrase spaceship Earth instead of Mother Earth, but it's basically the same idea. Deutsch argues that far from being an environment uniquely suited to nurturing life, the Earth has been a death trap. He says this: nearly the whole of Earth's biosphere in its primeval state was incapable of keeping an unprotected human alive for long. It is knowledge that allows humans to live in this hostile environment, and in fact, it's knowledge that allows anything to live. In the case of most non-human animals and plants, the knowledge is coded into DNA. Only in humans and a few rare animals has knowledge emerged from DNA and moved into culture. And only in humans has knowledge moved on from culture to science. This is Deutsch's point of view in The Beginning of Infinity, the book. And chapter 3 in that book is key. Go ahead and read it. For anyone steeped in the world of environmentalism, the 38 pages of that chapter are a revolution. Deutsch is not anti-environmental, and neither am I. I recognise the need to live sensibly and mitigate the effects of billions of people on Earth. I think it's self-evident. But Deutsch's message is deeper and more dangerous than that. It strikes at the misanthropy, the hate of humanity, which is at the heart of some parts of the modern environmental movement. This self-loathing is sometimes explicit, but more often it's implicit. And it's soaked up by kids educated in the harms that humanity is inflicting on the world. At the heart of the modern doctrines of the unworthiness of humanity lie two contradictory ideas. The first is that humanity is essentially insignificant in the universal scheme of things. To quote physicist Stephen Hawking, humans are just a chemical scum on the surface of a typical planet that's in orbit around a typical star on the outskirts of a typical galaxy. The second idea is that our planet is uniquely suited to nurturing and sustaining life. This is good old Mother Earth. The contradiction here between these two ideas, just to make it totally clear, is that on the one hand we're told to believe that there's nothing special about our planet or its place in the universe, and on the other, the Earth represents a unique life support system that we can't hope to find elsewhere and that we are presently ruining. The great news is that both ideas are wrong. Let's leave Mother Earth to one side for the moment and deal with the "we are insignificant" belief. Scientific discoveries over the past 500 years seem to have pushed humanity further and further from centre stage. We discovered first the Earth moved around the Sun, then that the Sun was just an average star, one of billions, in an average galaxy, again, one of billions. The world that once held up the sky is in fact just a pebble in the void. The divine spark of life evolved from dead molecules that accidentally copied themselves in a chemical process. So it seems the lessons from the discoveries of science is that far from being unique, we're run-of-the-mill, just like Hawking says. Chemical scum on the outskirts of nowhere in particular. Wrong. The insignificance of humanity has been overstated, to put it mildly. It's the bigness of space and the smallness of humans that is actually insignificant. The universe is unimaginably big, yes, but as it stands right now, it's what happens here on Earth that is, as far as we know, the most interesting and important show around. And that importance is cosmic in scope. To understand the universe, you have to understand people. If you don't believe me, then consider refrigerators. Did you know that the coldest known places in the entire universe are right here on Earth? The ambient temperature of deep space is a few degrees above absolute zero. That's very, very cold. Temperatures are even chillier in the Boomerang Nebula, but that doesn't come close to matching how cold it is inside certain very specialised fridges on Earth. They're just millionths of a degree above absolute zero. So you can't describe the universe accurately, even in terms of foundational concepts like temperature, without reference to our tiny pebble and the scums that live here. To really understand why the coldest places in the universe are on Earth, you'd have to understand how these particularly crafty scums have made those fridges. And to do that, you'd have to come up with an understanding of life itself. And it's not just temperature and a few weird fridges. How would some galactic observer explain the buildup of CO2 in our atmosphere? So we scums have already had planet-sized impacts. What's stopping us in future from having star-sized effects? Nothing. Nothing but knowledge. The insignificance of humans, which on the surface is such an attractive position, is in fact dishonest. It seems like it's humble to believe that we're insignificant. It seems like an antidote to human arrogance. But it's all wrong. The mistake is to overlook the fact that people and our fridges, language, mathematics, and everything else are as much a part of the universe as anything you see in the night sky. The Mother Earth idea, the belief that we live in a unique and kindly biosphere, shares the same mistake. As Deutsch points out, the Mother Earth thinking dominant in environmentalism casts all species aside from humans in morally positive roles. Only humans are negative and ungrateful for the gifts of Mother Earth. But humans are part of the biosphere too. And like other species, we respond to plentiful food and good conditions by increasing in number. In singling out humanity for blame, the Mother Earth thesis implies that people are somehow outside nature. We are not. We are part of the whole. And so is the knowledge that we've gained in solving the everyday problems of existence. Our ancestors did not find the world a ready-made and hospitable life support system. They survived and prospered only through the painstaking accumulation of knowledge. There are any number of examples of what happens when people with insufficient knowledge take up residence in a new environment. The slow demise of the Greenland Norse, the near starvation of the American Pilgrims, or the painful deaths of Australian explorers like Burke and Wills. In each one of these cases, people with the right knowledge, the knowledge that would have allowed survival, were living happily in the exact same environments. You and I cannot live without knowledge, and to take knowledge away would be to condemn you to death. That sounds like a cruel thing to do. Naturally, bastard Earth does it all the time. Individuals, species, entire kinds of life die out when conditions change without warning. Life that does not have the requisite knowledge to survive is done away with. So the trilobites that once lived everywhere in teeming billions, in thousands of species, prospered for hundreds of millions of years. Then they all died in the blink of an eye because something bad happened and they weren't ready for it. This underlines a key point. Problem solving is at the heart of existence. There's a school of thought that says humanity has some intractable problems that just can't be solved. But that's not true unless the solution is physically impossible. People are universal problem solvers, fundamentally different from plants and animals. Deutsch says this: everything that is not forbidden by the laws of nature is achievable given the right knowledge. Let that sink in for a bit. It seems unlikely. Everything is achievable? Everything? It is one of the best and most optimistic sentences I have ever read. In all the vast universe that we know, there is no more interesting or important development than the birth of life on Earth. And among the life forms of Earth, humans have the ability to consciously solve problems using knowledge transmitted from individual to individual. Does this make us the masters of the universe? It depends on who you mean by us. If the us is humans, the answer is not necessarily. The building of knowledge and its ever tighter fit to reality isn't restricted to humans. Any entity that can systematically solve problems and build knowledge classifies as a person in this view of the world. All humans are people, but not all people are humans. So it could be our biological descendants, our digital descendants, or even aliens entirely unconnected to Earth who will advance knowledge and solve the problems of the future. As far as we know, however, humans currently hold the keys to the rapid accumulation of knowledge. And of the pressing problems we face, the biggest is how to get off this bastard before the next great dying happens and sets back the development of knowledge by several million years.